Hello there, Father John Dunn back with you on this, the first Sunday of Advent. It's also for us in Auckland the time to look forward to traffic light red and the liberation it represents from this time of lockdown. Strange as it may seem, it seems a big step, but it opens up the promise of a new future post-COVID, where we need to take account of who we are and what COVID has meant for us, what has it done to us, what has it taught to us. So let's begin our reflection with that kind of question. If we go look into ourselves, how has COVID affected me deeply? Has it changed my relationship with my loving God? How has it affected relationships with those I love in my family and beyond, with my children? How has it affected my relationship with my work, my friends, and with the future in general? These questions, I believe, fit nicely into our readings today. The Church's year begins today with Advent, 4 weeks of preparation for Christmas. But they're also the beginning of a whole year. The Church's year begins this Sunday and moves right through until the Feast of Christ the King, which we celebrated last week. The readings are difficult and they need a lot of unpacking. Let's turn to Jeremiah. The people of Israel are in slavery in Babylon and they are devastated. And Jeremiah speaks to them and prophesies that there is a future. Their temple was burnt, and now the dogs wander through the temple, and they destroyed Jerusalem. Jeremiah prophesies that God has not abandoned them and that they will return, and then they will know that God is our integrity. But the translation is not quite that. God is our righteousness. God is the one who restores the covenant relationship. I will be your God and you will be my people. The future of a life of love and the land restored and the temple renewed is what keeps that hope of those poor slaves going. In the gospel, we need to remember that the Gospels are written quite a bit later. Pontius Pilate was in Judea from 26 to 36. So if Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate, it had to be in that time. So that's his death and resurrection. The temple was destroyed by Titus in the year 70. And St. Mark's Gospel was written after that. So there's a connection with the reading and the destruction of the temple. St. Luke is written maybe 10 years or later after that, and all these traditions are oral. And so at that stage, the Christian communities throughout the whole of the Roman Empire in those days, the risen Christ had not returned. What's going on? And so St. Luke tells us that Jesus in this chapter forecasts first of all the destruction of the temple. Then he forecasts after that the persecutions of the faithful followers of Christ. They will be brought before Jewish and Sikh and Roman courts. They will be persecuted, tortured, and so on. And then he moves to this picture of this end. And while the generalized picture of all sorts of things are happening, at the end of it all, there is this fact that it says, watch yourselves, hang in there, and so that you can stand with confidence before the Son of Man when he comes. Perhaps the second reading says it better for us. In between times, St. Paul, writing to the people of Thessalonica, says to them that may the Lord be generous in increasing your love for one another and make you love one another and the whole human race as much as we love you. Make progress in loving, and that is the main thing in the call to follow Christ. Can we apply these things to ourselves in COVID? Can we go deep for a little minute and see and hear the transcendent presence of the risen Christ, not only to come in the future, but close to us now, opening us up to accept and be creative for the future, and to bring about a kind of a world where love and healing and inclusion, rather than exclusion and despair, are the ruling things. So happy Advent, and may God bless us all as we move forward in this terrible time of COVID lockdown.